In this segment, we've got the Metro Atlanta residential real estate update for the last 7 days. In our Something You Should Know About Metro Atlanta, is the Dogwood Festival headed for its demise, and new home inventory? Is it rising? Is there a reason to worry, or is it natural? My name is Cleve Gaddis, and I appreciate you joining me today, and you're listening to Go Gaddis Real Estate Radio, where we turn confusion into confidence. So hopefully you can buy and sell with clarity and not all of the anxiety that is so typical. So whether you're a first-time buyer or maybe a move-up seller or just real estate curious, you'll get straight talk, real data, and practical next steps for Atlanta and beyond. If you have a question, comment, or even a little pushback, I want to hear it. Head straight to GoGaddisRadio.com. That's GoGaddis radio.com. You can tell us what's on your mind. You can suggest a particular neighborhood we feature in our neighborhood spotlight, and you can subscribe to our podcast and our YouTube channel so you never miss a single episode. Without further ado, let's jump right into the Metro Atlanta residential real estate update for the last 7 days. We continue to look at the market every 7 days. Interesting, you'll see some differences here. We had 2,472 new listings hit the market in the prior 7 days. We had 941 of those go under contract. That is a low number for this time of year. Not unusual for us to have a low number this time of year, just much lower than the last few weeks. We had 1,455 closings for the week and 2,648 homes that had a price decrease for the week. Is it a good time to sell as a seller? I would say yes, it's still a good time to sell. Even though inventory continues to rise, we still have way less inventory than we had, prior to the crash. We have way less inventory prior to than we had going into the pandemic. So if you're worried from a seller's perspective, is now a reasonable time to sell a home? The answer is yes. It's probably more reasonable now than it has been for many, many of the last 20 years. It's not a screaming one-sided seller's market like we experienced in 2020, 2021. And let's just call it the first half of 2022. Things were just rocking along. Interest rates started to go up, and the market just started to slow down. But if you're a seller today, my suggestion is that you must, as the seller, be totally aware with how your property ranks or compares to all of the competition. In so many cases, and I was on with some prospective clients earlier today, and it wasn't earlier today, it was yesterday, and we were reviewing the market, and literally we were going in and looking at the kitchens, the primary bathrooms, the front yards, the backyards, the number of parking spaces. We were looking at everything so that we could really understand, how does our listing or our potential listing, how does it stack up against the competition? So, because when you think about it, you're in a little bit of a battle as a seller. As a seller, your challenge is, if there's 6 other properties that people can buy, or in this particular example, there was 3 other properties that people could buy, that this neighborhood has 6 homes sold in a year, so you can figure out they have 6 months worth of inventory. How do we, as the 4th listing coming on the market, how do we make sure that ours gets sold first? And when you think about it, if you have a high level of sensitivity and understanding to how you stack up compared to the competition, it's fairly easy to figure out, what do you need to do aesthetically, cosmetically? What do you need to do pricing-wise? What do you need to do from a showing standpoint, staging or no staging, or fancy colors or no fancy colors? What do you need to do? Well, you can tell when you look at the other properties that buyers who are prospects for properties in your neighborhood might actually go and look at. 2,648 people decreased their price. That is down from 3,200, 3,300. Listings coming on the market are starting to slow just a little bit, which is normal for this time of year. I expect the number of listings with a price decrease to continue to decrease, to get smaller as we move into the fall and the winter months. We're in football season as well, so things are certainly changing around here, and I love some of this cool weather that we're facing. If you're a buyer interested in buying a home, now could be a very good time to buy. You can't get out there and necessarily steal a home, but if you want to find home sellers who are motivated to be flexible with you and to be accommodating with you in order to come to some type of agreement that actually works for them and works for you, now is a way better time to do it than many, many times in the past. If you've just joined us, you're listening to Go Gaddis Real Estate Radio right here on AM 920 The Answer. I'm Cleve Gaddis. We just finished up our review of what's happened in Metro Atlanta over the last 7 days, and now we're going to jump into one of my favorite segments, which is the Here's Something You Should Know About Metro Atlanta segment. We know that most people who live in Atlanta are not from Atlanta. They're not natives of Atlanta, so they didn't grow up here, going to Grant Park and going to Turner Field, which is not Turner Field anymore. They didn't grow up doing all that kind of stuff, and so we always want to make sure that you know all of the things that we love so much about Metro Atlanta. And there has been a festival called the Atlanta Dogwood Festival, and it's been going on for, I believe, 90 years, if I remember correctly. Well, financial woes are threatening the future of the Atlanta Dogwood Festival. The festival is looking to raise $250,000, $250,000 by November 1st in order to ensure that next year's festival will happen. Again, it's heading into its 90th year. The festival is facing financial losses due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, reduced sponsorships, increasing cost. This is all according to a press release. If the festival does not meet its funding goal and deadline, there will be no festival in 2026, according to organizers. Unlike some other events in Atlanta, we don't receive, they say, any taxpayer dollars. That's Brian Hill, Atlanta Dogwood Festival Executive Director. We've always raised that money through our own efforts. It's been increasingly more difficult, which I can understand. According to the press release, the Atlanta Dogwood Festival Board of Directors is currently in conversation with Mayor Andre Dickens' office for support from the city. The festival is also seeking donations and sponsorships from corporations, local businesses, philanthropic organizations, and past attendees. In fact, if you are interested, I would assume you could search Donate to Atlanta Dogwood Festival online and probably find a way to do that. The festival's production costs, they say, have risen somewhere between 25 and 30% since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, primarily due to the rising cost of security, equipment rentals, and other support services. According to Hill, again, the general manager, the income made from the festival has not been able to keep pace with the cost. Other reasons for the increase include the rising cost of labor, as well as a shift to digital marketing during the pandemic, when live events and therefore sponsorships of those events became temporarily obsolete. And when the Atlanta Dogwood Festival returned after taking a break in 2020, sponsorships returned too, but in a more constricted manner. The Dogwood Festival, for those of you who've never been, is free to attend, and it usually hosts 250 or more artists from across the country. To offset rising costs, over the past few years, the festival has introduced some fundraising efforts such as the Mimosa 5K Run, a VIP ticketed event, midway rides, and merchandise sales. While many of those endeavors have been successful and popular, they're still not keeping pace with the expenses. And they say that your donation, no matter the size, makes a difference. You can visit dogwood.org. dogwood.org to make your donation so that the festival will reach its 90th anniversary in 2026. I hadn't thought about this until just now, but when I get off, I might just go donate $25 or $50 because they've been around for a long time and I'd like to see it continue to come. Changing subjects again, I got a warning for you. Don't fall for the fake crash narrative. This really isn't 2008 or 2007 or 2006 or 2005. Johnson in Milton submitted a question saying, we've noticed that new home communities and construction is increasing. Should those of us who are considering selling our not so new home be concerned? And what about should we be concerned if we are a buyer as well? And really what everyone is getting wrong, for a few years, the housing market was really a pressure cooker with buyers fighting over every scrap of inventory. But recently there are signs of that changing. The number of new homes for sale is up. So does this mean the market is cooling? Is it finally a buyer's paradise? Or is there something more complicated at play? On today's show, we're asking the tough questions and unpacking the data to reveal what really is happening with new construction and what it means for your home buying journey. A lot of what you see online is designed to get clicks, so many of you may not be getting the full story. A closer look at the data and a little expert insight can change your perspective. While the number of new listings on the market has hit its highest level since the crash, that's not really a reason to worry, because new builds are just one piece of the puzzle and they don't tell the full story of what's happening today. If we take just a little look here, during 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, there were, in terms of total inventory of homes for sale in the United States, between 3.5 and 4.5 million homes for sale. Today, that number just recently is just slightly over 2 million. So the market is really very, very different today. And in terms of builders overbuilding, 2002, 3, 4, and 5, we were adding between 1.4 and 1.6 million new homes per year. Recently, that number has been in the 500,000 to 600,000 range, and this year it's getting up to the million. So really, we're still catching up with the inventory needs from the past. So am I worried, Johnson and Milton, about new home inventory going up? No, it's still relatively low compared to the past. This segment of the show is brought to you by the law firm of O'Kelly and Sorahan. They have 30 offices all throughout Metro Atlanta. They can be reached by calling 770-497-1880. And last thing in this segment, if you're considering selling your home anytime in the next year or year and a half, we want you to get the upside. What is the upside? Well, there's different ways to sell a home in today's market. You can sell it for cash and do a guaranteed cash offer, close in 21 days. You can make some minor improvements to the home and then sell it. You can sell it as is, where is, on the listing service, and you can buy your new home using funds from a funding service and pay it off when you sell your existing home. We want to make sure that you, as a home seller in Metro Atlanta, get the upside. Even if you've already decided you want to list with someone else, you ought to get a second opinion so that we can analyze all 4 of those options for you. It's real simple. Go to Go Gaddis Radio, click on the upside, put in just a little information, and we will reach out to you, and I will personally review your situation. It's one of the things that I absolutely enjoy most. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, there's a generational housing boom. We're going to talk about that and more. Stick with us. We'll be back.